Hey, welcome to another episode of the WP Crowd. Been a while since we recorded anything, but we are back, hopefully for a regular scheduled programming every week. So today will be our fun one. We're talking about remote working and setting yourself up for success, being a remote worker. As usual, I'm going to start with introductions. Go ahead and start with James.
I'm James Tran, creative director and founder of Easily Amused, a full-service agency out of Orlando.
Cool. And you are also WAPU, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm the head archivist for WAPUs.
It's pretty sweet. Chris, why don't you go up next?
Chris Flanagan, and I'm a developer for Modern Tribe and been doing the remote work thing for about 9 or 10 months, so approaching a year. I used to freelance remotely for many years, but that was a different story, so maybe we'll get into that.
Cool. And Roby?
I build websites for a business called Bearded Friend, which is mine, and I also have a second business called the WP Barber to complement that. The barber is there for grooming websites. Do you get it?
Yeah, it's good. I like that.
I don't know what I like more, like your name, WP Barber, or just the way you say it, just because it adds like a 10 factor cool just every time you say it. I'm like, I want to sign up for your service. I don't need it. I want to pay you just to say it to me like every day.
Supposed to be groomed.
There's my marketing done.
All right. So I'd say we have a good mix here, but we really don't. You guys are all remote, pretty much full time. I'm the only part-time remote worker. So I work kind of a hybrid approach. I guess it would have been useless to bring on someone who doesn't do remote work, but yeah, I do a hybrid. I work from home 1-2 days a week, sometimes a little bit more. Typically 1 to 2 days. You guys are all remote 100% of the time. So I'm kind of curious. Let's just start out with your home or remote office. What do you guys have set up? Do you guys make a space for yourselves, or do you guys just work wherever and let shit happen kind of thing?
Yeah,
Well, I can touch on that. Or go ahead, James.
Sorry. I've always had an office. I made sure it was a closed-off space so I could work. And I forgot to say, yeah, I've been remote since 2009. So since then, we've always had an extra bedroom. I actually converted the loft in our new house into my office, so it's a closed, with a door.
And do you have to share that space with anyone, or is it just yours and that's it?
I have a desk if anyone ever wants to co-work. So I have space for others, but it's not a shared space.
I mean, like your family doesn't share the space with you for anything. It's pretty much just a working space.
I mean, some of the artwork because I have to, but
How about you, Chris? How do you have yours set up? I'm curious.
Well, I had a home office, which was pretty cool. And then my son was born, and so my daughter took my office, and my son took her old room. So I am actually working from my living room right now while my wife is staying at home with our 8-month-old son. So it presented its challenges, and I convinced myself I was going to co-work or rent a tiny little office space. But I found with headphones on, I can make it work. It's definitely challenging though, and I would kill for my own office space again.
I'm curious for that, like, you actually code in the living room, like on your couch?
No, I have a kitchen table we are using pushed up against the wall, and it's a makeshift desk with my dog, and it's right in a high trap. Don't get me wrong, I would kill for an office. But I make it work. I put my headphones on, turn the music up, and just zone out.
Do you ever miss like having just space for like at least just an external monitor or two, or do you have set up?
It's a big kitchen table, so I have a monitor, my laptop, and my iMac all like around me. So I'm not worried about my desk coverage. Plenty of room there. It's just the location is not ideal.
Cool. How about you, Roby?
Well, the last years I was living in the Gold Coast, and we had a 4-bedroom house for my wife and I, which was awesome because I could have a dedicated office with a door that closed. At the moment, we've moved state and we're living with the in-laws currently. one bedroom to sleep and work and live. And here's an example. There's my bed. There's my wife's desk. And I'm on my desk in a single room with a few other people living on the other side of that door. But we've made it work. It's all right. We've got headphones. We've got speakers, music to listen to. And I don't have to make a ton of phone calls. So that's cool. Yeah, that's my current situation.
That's a good point, though. That's the most challenging part for me is I have probably 4 or 5 meetings a week, some of them an hour too long, and they're all video conference, and I have to manage either, like right now, I'm sitting in my garage because my entire family's in the living room. During the day, fortunately, the kid naps sometimes, I can stay, but I have to like bounce around depending on what's going on in the house in order to do a freaking meeting.
Yeah, so again, I don't work remote full-time, but we do have an extra bedroom specifically because I needed an office. It turned into I'm sharing an office with my wife. So my wife, you can't really see, but behind me is like her crafting / hobby desk, along with all with her stuff. So, we don't actually, it's actually okay, like when we're both in here working, because usually she's busy doing her craft stuff and watching Netflix on her iPad, and then I got my headphones on. It's not too bad, but it does get a little cramped sometimes. So I do miss having kind of my own office space, which is fine because, again, I'm not a full-time at home. I get to go to the office a few times a week. Not that much better, but at least it's out. So for you guys, I'm curious, what how do you guys deal with your family and stuff? Like, so do you guys just say, hey, from whatever 9 to 5 is work time, leave me the hell alone, or do you guys allow interaction? I'm curious what kind of rules you guys have set up. Chris, why don't you go first?
You don't really allow anything. I couldn't allow my wife to do anything. She does what she wants. But
good answer. Good
yeah,
answer.
I know. She might watch this, so I gotta be careful. But no, before I started working at home, I told her, I said, it's going to be like I'm at an office. I can't be bothered. I need to be able to sit there from mainly 9 to 5. That's my main window of don't bother me. And of course, hey, will you help me take out the garbage? Or hey, I have to ask you something. It happens and you get used to it. But she knows when I'm like head down in my computer, headphones on, don't bother me. And we've got a pretty good balance with that. So it's not too bad.
How about you, Roby? I know that your wife helps you out a lot with your business. So I'm curious how you work with that dynamic.
Yeah, so it's that helps because she knows what kind of goes on. I don't know, when you can't easily shift from developer mode to business mode to email mode. You kind of got to be just focused for a set period of time. And if you get interrupted, it just throws out your whole productivity for the day. So she kind of gets to, work time is work time, and, take regular breaks and don't, and obviously try not to work too far into the night. But it is a challenge with other people living here, especially who don't, fully understand web stuff. As they go out to their 9 to 5 job and then come home and they're like, oh, well, why haven't you done all the housework? You've just been home all day. So that can be a challenge sometimes.
And then how about you, James? How do you have, I know you have your office set up, so how do you deal with, and your kid's a little bit older, so I'm curious how you set up boundaries with them.
Well, I have a 14-year-old, and then we have 2 under 2. So we were wanting to have, so the wife she has her hands full. When it comes to like anything else, I feel like she's part of the team. We use a lot of text messaging. So we use a calendar and text messaging. So if I'm supposed to do something, she makes sure that it's like on my calendar a couple days in advance, and I have to do it. I have no problem doing it. But outside of that, it's a lot of, text messaging to make sure that if she's going to come in, I'm not, doing something or on a call. And other than that, I know there's a cutoff time that I help, then we eat dinner, hang out together as family. And then depending on the workload, I might bring the laptop down and work on the couch or hang out or watch a movie, and work, remotely downstairs. But for the most part, they know if the door's closed from like 9 to 6:30 or so, it's pretty much I'm off limits.
So
Unless
you
it's
actually,
scheduled.
yeah, you brought up a good point. So I'm curious how you handle, because you're at home all day working, not saying you're home just to leisure, but you're at home working, how you kind of juggle scheduling, like, family events, hanging out with your family. And I guess you could say it's normal to like a normal job, like, after work, you kind of hang out with your family. But I know a lot of you guys, well, I know James, you especially, I know most people that work remote will then, after the kind of family goes out for the night or down for the night, they'll continue working. So do you guys do that? Do you guys, stop working, do family time, then come back to work? Or do you guys do like more of a normal work structure where it's like after you're done for the day, you're done, you don't go back on your computer kind of thing?
I always work at night, almost every night. It's actually slowed down since I started with Tribe. I was able to cut out a good chunk of freelance, but actually most freelance. But I can't help myself. It's like once the family's done and the kids are in bed, and if my wife's reading a book, I can't help myself but sit down at the computer and either do some work or just code for fun or whatever. It's just I don't know, kind of hooked on it. I guess that's what makes me a good remote worker too, though, is you don't want to stop. You want to keep going no matter if somebody's hovering over your shoulder or not.
How about you, Roby? Do you do any work after kind of like spending some time with the family and whatnot?
Too much. Yeah, I do. I work most nights, and sometimes the night turns into the morning, and then turns into getting up late. But then, yeah, it's a vicious cycle, and I just seem to be, depending on what I'm doing, if it's like coding stuff or if I just need to focus on something for those long chunks of time, I find that after hours, because you're not getting emails coming in. You're not expecting people to say, is this done yet? And things like that. You can just switch off, just go, okay, no one's going to bother me. Put your headphones in and just work. And then suddenly a few hours have gone by. And, but yeah. Long story short is, yes.
I'm also curious how you guys handle like that cutoff. So like, again, I'm saying this, but I'm the hybrid approach. So like when I'm at work, there's that time where I'm like, okay, I'm done for the day. I'm going to go home. Right. So that's my cutoff point. You're already at home. How do you mentally make the cutoff point in your head? Like, is it dinner's on the table, therefore I'm done for the day? Do you guys have a certain time that like you're checked out at? Or do you just kind of, is it more organic than that? Like, how do you go from work mode to not work mode? How do you know when that happens?
That's a dangerous question, and I know you said earlier that this isn't like the emotional side of remote working, but I actually think that is a problem. A lot of us that work remote will probably also have a problem like falling asleep. But when I'm laying there, I'm like, oh, did I accomplish everything, or what did I do? And I can look back at my day and be like, oh no, there's definitely time accounted for, but being it's my own business and I work remote with a team, I feel like I'm doing the job of a lot, and realistically, I should probably bring someone else on to help with some of that, or assign more tasks and live a healthier lifestyle and charge more for that client work and be more aware. But sometimes it is just really nice to work at night and get a lot accomplished and don't have all the emails in the meetings. It's just really nice alone creative time. So sort of like what everyone else said, that evening time is the magic time, but then sometimes it turns into the morning. And then sometimes you go 2 days without, like, well, I should probably sleep soon because it's been 2 days.
Yep.
Well, I have the same problem as Chris. Like, I love what I do, and if I wasn't, when I'm not coding for work, I'm coding, whether it's like a fun side project or a personal project. Like, I honestly, I think if I was remote working every day, I don't know when I would want to just get up off the computer. Like, obviously I know I should, and from like a rubber ducking kind of point of view, like I'd want to stop whatever I'm working on, but and then maybe switch if I'm, hitting a wall. But I don't know if I could be like, okay, it's 5 o'clock, time for me to stop working, because I'm already at home in my chair at my computer. Like there's nowhere else I kind of rather be, almost.
I'll tell you what changes it is being a daddy and a husband. So like my family, it's almost like a family rule that dad stops working at 5 o'clock. And I do. I stop at 5 o'clock every single day. I take my screaming child from my wife and take care of him until he goes to bed. If my daughter's here, because it's joint custody, so if my daughter's here half the time and I play with her, watch movies with her, it's like kids need a dad, and I know that, so I make it my prerogative to be done at 5 o'clock. But my son's in bed by 6:30, my daughter's in bed by 8:30 or 9, so I know I have that space at night to jump back on, and that kind of, it stays in my head the whole time. But I also stop at Friday at 5 o'clock, and I don't start again until Monday morning. My weekends are sacred. I don't touch my computer. I love my weekends, and that kind of supercharges me to get going on Monday morning and just start going at it again.
That would really tie into the mental aspect, because like I feel like if I was remote, even now, like, because I'm not remote all the time, I spend a lot of my weekend. We're talking this about pre-show a little bit, like how I want to do yard work, but it's just way too hot outside. And I know I don't live in Florida like James and Chris do, but it's still hot here in Southern California. So, and we have someone from Australia, so I'm sure it's balls hot there too. So yeah, doing yard work in the middle of the day on a Saturday just doesn't sound pleasant when it's 100 degrees outside, or whatever that is in Celsius. Way too hot. So I'm just like, I just get back on my computer because I'm like, okay, I'll get some work done. Or, especially if my wife is still in bed or she's having a leisure day on her own, doing her own thing. I don't know. Like, I feel like from a mental point of view, I'd end up spending way too much time on the computer if I was remote.
I don't know what it is, man. It just switches off of me. I have zero desire to touch my computer come Friday at 5. Like, none. I do not want to sit in that chair. It's weird, but I love it during the week.
Do you think that would be different if you were just working in your own business as opposed to?
Oh, absolutely. I've freelanced forever. That's the biggest thing I respect about you guys is I freelanced for many, many years, but I never made the money I could have, and I always wound up having to get a job after. Sometimes it lasts a year or two, sometimes it lasts 6 months, but it's like I don't have the motivation to make myself do my own business. I don't want to do sales and client stuff. I don't want to be managing tasks. What changed my world was when I worked for FlowPress last year, and that was my first real remote job, but they gave me task lists and things that were assigned to me. So I had like this list in front of me that somebody else gave me, and I could sit there and work all day. But if I was making my own lists and trying to reach out to my own clients, man, I would never get anything done. It was really bad. So I mad props to you two that can do that.
Well, you do say never get anything done, but you're doing all that PM work, so you're doing like a full-time job.
But I didn't do it.
Yeah, I think that was my problem with freelance too. Like being 100% freelance is, like it's also a motivation thing, and it's what I want to touch on next. But like I would never have like I'd get the client, they'd pay me the deposit, and I'm like, I'm gonna go do something else now, and instead of like wanting to be motivated to actually finish out the project, and I'm sure you guys. Yeah, and I'm sure you guys know this, but like that last 5-10% of a project, I'm like done. I'm like, I don't want to work on this anymore. I know there's only like a couple hours left. That is like the worst couple hours, because it's like the nitpicky couple hours. But I don't want to do it. So I'm just like, yeah, forget it. And then all my clients hate me, and I end up in a hole. Like I'm in a much better spot now because the freelance that I do sometimes take on is very specific. I'm like picking them because I actually am interested in developing and launching something. But yeah, I can't do it. I can't do website builds anymore. It's too boring. But that brings me to the next question, which is how do you guys stay motivated working at home? Like, I'm at home 2 days a week, and it's not, I've gotten used to it, and I'm, I know to turn on my headphones, turn on Spotify, and as soon as I start working, it's kind of one of those things. It's like, they say going to the gym is a pain in the butt because like it's not really the gym that's the hard part. It's just getting there. Like once you're at the gym, most people will gym 100%. And that's the same with me. As soon as I have my code open and I have a jam on, that's it. I'll be coding for hours. So I'm curious how you guys get into that riff and how you guys avoid the distractions. Like how do you avoid, hey, the TV's over there. Hey, I know my kid knows I'm in work mode, but maybe I should go check up on him or, see what's going on.
Or, hey, my wife's drinking a beer at 1 in the afternoon. I wish I could.
Yeah, exactly. How do you guys deal with the motivation and the distractions of being at home?
Well, kind of all joy in your life and it doesn't matter.
Well, sorry, what was that?
Nothing. I said cut out all joy in your life and it doesn't matter. No, I would say, like, I don't know. I know I'm looking forward to getting paid at the end of the project. That's pretty motivating. I'm looking forward to doing other things in the next project or continuing that relationship. So I don't know. It's just part of running the business that you have to keep going. If you're not motivated, you fail. And there's no like game over. I mean, there's no like restart after the game over, if you will. Like, so there's no other choice. So I don't know if I ever looked at it like motivation or you just better keep going. It's not the end.
I think for me, it's being on a team. The freelance thing, like I said, never got anything done, but being on an actual team is really cool. And also, I have a cool job. I worked really hard to get where it's at, and when you reach that job that you really are wanting to get, then you well, at least me, I actually apply myself like 110%. I want to prove that I earned this job and that I deserve it. So that's a big motivator for me.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever something that you can 100% do all the time. If you just like, sometimes you just feel unmotivated, I guess. Trying to find another word, but
demotivated.
Yeah. But something that helps me is just I like change, or I don't like things being the same all the time. So if I'm just feeling stuck and I'm not getting anywhere, I'll just pick up my laptop and go out to the dining room table or sit on the table out the back. Or my favorite thing to do is just to go to whether it's a cafe or just a co-working space. Since I've moved to this state, there's not really a co-working space near me. So I'm working with a couple of people to try and get one open. Because I know there's lots of people around here who could use that. And even if it's like, if you're not working on the same thing, it doesn't matter. Like I could be working next to a graphic designer or working next to someone building a mobile app, but just being there with someone, just knowing you're both there kind of doing similar things, just being out of the house, being somewhere else, you can do that rubber ducking kind of thing you were talking about, just explain your problems to them, and then they might just sit there, stare at you blankly, and then you just look at their blank face and you go, oh, I know. And so that really, yeah.
Let's make out. Solid, staring at each other, blank faces. Sorry, this is where my head went.
Yeah, so I thrive off the community side of things, just meeting people and knowing that there's other people out there like me. I'm not alone, just sitting at home, coding until my eyes fall out.
Yeah. You also have several different types of tasks. So if you get something that's you're just really you can't do anything or you can't figure out this coding problem, you're like, well, I can go spend an hour looking for stock photography for the next campaign for something. So I don't have to do like the mind-numbing task all the time or the really difficult task, or you can mix it up. You can even if you can't do anything, you can spend some time just on social media helping spreading the brand. So it's still like productive. In a worst case scenario, working from home, you're your own boss. Go take a nap if you really need to. Just go like stop, and then restart. Get a fresh pot of coffee when you're done.
I'm also curious how you guys stay motivated because we're all web developers. We're all on our computer. the biggest thing I actually deal with is like come Saturday evening when I actually need to get some work done for freelance or whatever. I'll throw on YouTube and I'm like, all right, one YouTube video, or I'll put on Netflix. And I'm like, one episode, and then work.
Black hole.
You know exactly where that's going when you do that, Roy. You know exactly.
I know it, but I do it anyway. And then and then 1 a.m. rolls around, and I'm like, I've written like a half a line of code.
What's a half line gonna do?
Nothing. It usually breaks everything. I end up with a broken website usually. So I'm curious how you guys combat that. Do you guys ever put blockers on yourselves, or do you guys just have that much willpower that I don't have to just not open up YouTube or Netflix to begin with?
We have a WP Australia Slack group that's got WordPressers from all over the country just kind of in there chatting. And so if I'm feeling like demotivated, or I just open that up and see what's happening in everyone else's world. And that's kind of really cool. It's kind of like, you know, going outside and saying hello to someone, but virtually in a way, I guess. But yeah, I just open that up for 5 to 10 minutes and chat to a couple of people that I can see are also having a break, and we have a random channel, which is just like either news articles or funny things happening or memes of web developers pulling their hair out. So that's one way that isn't as big of a black hole as, say, YouTube or something like that.
One thing I'll add to that I've just recently discovered is notification settings. Like, you can turn them all off. So then it's only a distraction when you're checking it. So it's not that constant, like, oh, I got pinged again. So I try to avoid those things. I do play a lot of YouTube, but it's very like dense educational, like kind of boring to your average person stuff. So it's just background noise, sort of like podcast, if you will, but it might be someone like turning a bowl on a lathe, or someone soldering a circuit board and explaining why they're doing it. That'll just be background noise. So I don't know. I kind of allow it, but I don't allow myself to get distracted by it.
I can go down a Facebook hole really fast, like really fast. So, and I've learned that. And if I catch myself on Facebook for more than like 10 or 15 minutes, which when it reaches that point, it's like, I know myself really well at this point, because I've been doing it so long, that I have to shut the browser down, or the Facebook tab down, and do not open it. Just do not open it until, I'll even say, you can check it after you do these 2 tasks, and they're going to take me 3 hours. So it's kind of a little reward, but if I'm not careful, if I leave the tab open and see the notifications, then man, it can ruin half a day for me easily. So I have to be careful with that.
Yeah, I have a problem, especially with YouTube or Netflix. I actually don't even open up that much anymore, but YouTube is like the worst, because like, not just do I want to watch something, like I get really specific. I'm like, and then like I have things I'm subscribed to, and like if none of them have a new video out just simultaneously while I'm looking for something to watch, then there's like a 15 to 20 minute ramp up of trying to find something just to watch, just so I can watch a video and then get to work. It's like, I'm the kind of person that like, I'll sit there for like 3 hours cooking the perfect meal, but I won't eat it till I find the perfect thing to watch on Netflix while I'm eating my perfect meal. Like, it'll go cold and soggy, but I'm like, no, I gotta watch the most perfect thing while enjoying my meal. And that's what happens. And it kills off like another 20 minutes. I've been trying to like do other coding stuff. So like if I'm in that mood where I'm like, okay, I'm not ready to work yet, but I don't want to open up YouTube or something like that. I'll work on something that I find more fun, like a personal project, and I'll give it like a task, or I'll give it 15, 20 minutes of like just dicking around with my code. And then I'm already coding. So then I'm like, okay, I'll just open up, my Jira for work, and I'll start coding there. I'll start looking at GitHub issues or something like that. I mean, today, I don't know what I was doing, but I really wasn't motivated to work right after lunch, so I opened up Caldera Forms GitHub, and I wanted to start tackling issues randomly. And then I spent 20 minutes looking for an issue to tackle, and by the time I found an issue, I was like, oh, I gotta get back to work. But I was like, man, if only I had the rest of the day to do nothing, I would totally pull requests to Josh just randomly, just hey, I was bored, so I fixed your plugin.
That's great. But you don't do it. You just stare at the issues.
Yeah, no, I just stare at it. I really need to just comment on the issue and it should just be I was really thinking of fixing this right now, but I didn't. Have a good day. I was gonna fix this, but I didn't. Hi, Josh. I don't know. I think that's it. Do you guys have any other top tips for someone who is either just starting out remote work, or maybe they're having issues? Anything from you guys that you find really makes you successful remote workers that you guys have learned while doing remote work?
I think we covered most of it. I guess the key is that if you're going to do remote work, make sure you're going to be doing what you love to do, because that's the biggest source of inspiration, is knowing that you're doing what you want to be doing for a job. So that's about it.
I think for some people, well, there was for me, there was a transition when I moved from working in an office to working for myself. And, I sat down at my desk in my home office for the first time. And it was probably a few weeks before I started really being productive, because it was just a new place. I had to kind of figure out, okay, I'm my own boss. I've got to now start creating my own tasks that are going to be productive. And then, so I think if you are transitioning to remote work and working from home, if it doesn't work for the first couple of weeks, you might just still be going through a kind of transition period. Some people might just get into it straight away. Just depends on your personality. But yeah, there can be that bit of a transition period. The other thing that has been helping a fair bit, and I know everyone says it, but it's true, is to exercise. Just get out, go for a half-hour walk in the morning or something.
I try to run every morning. It really does help. Oh.
Even if you can't commit to going to the gym, or just if you're not even a great runner or jogger, or at the moment I pick a 3 to 5K track and just walk/jog and just try and beat my time.
It's so good for you.
It's just getting out in the sun. The sun helps. Yeah.
Yeah. And Chris does get up pretty early to go for a run. It's crazy. Before the sun's up sometimes. That's no way. Sometimes I'm not
4 or
even
5 in the
bed
morning.
yet. I would say the two things that I would say that are most important, we kind of covered a little bit, is clear project management is key to working remote, staying organized with your projects and your team. And we didn't really talk much about the actual team side, but what we do that is super helpful is daily scrums. And honestly, even if it's just to make sure we're up and out of bed, it's not, it's supposed to talk about what we did yesterday, talk about what we're doing today and any roadblocks, but really it's just, okay, the rest of the team's counting on me to be there. I need to be an accountable person. I need to get up and start my day.
That's a good point.
And that's been really useful. And we're a small team, just 3 people right now. So.
Going back to what Roby said really quick, if you are struggling with remote work, I know that co-working can be pricey. If you go to one of those co-working spaces, they make those businesses. But I actually really like the hybrid approach. I used to be remote work when I was a freelancer, and I had a lot of the motivational issues. I was also a lot younger. And now when I'm working at home, because I get that little bit extra, a couple of extra hours of sleep, and it's kind of like a prize, especially on Friday. It's not really a 3-day weekend, but I get that 2.5 day. It's almost like an extra day of the weekend. even though I'm working at home. And so that actually keeps my motivation strong when I'm at home. So if you are transitioning, I'd say try a hybrid approach. Try just going out. Even if you go to a coffee shop, just try going somewhere where you're not going to get distracted by your home life. Throw on your headphones, get work done. Like I'll do that from time to time. Even if I'm working remote from work, I'll go out to like a coffee shop to get work done because, it's still less distraction for me. And so I can get actually more work done there sometimes.
And co-working doesn't have to be expensive. So when I lived in the Gold Coast, we had I was lucky enough to have 3 or sometimes 4 other guys. They had their own WordPresses. So we're all kind of working on a similar kind of thing, but separately. But we just go to each other's house. So we'd all go to one person's house this week, and then the next week we'd go to the next person's house, all 4 of us. And so we'd do that once a week or once every second week. Just to get out of the house. And, as long as you've got Wi-Fi that's going to support up to 4 people.
Like that.
And sometimes we'd even do, whoever the host is can do lunch for everyone. So that gave us that hard stop at 12 o'clock or 12:30 where we'd all sit down and all eat together.
Co-working with free lunch, that's a perk right there.
Yeah. and then after lunch we'd get back to it, and that was really cool. Especially if you're just used to working by yourself all the time, just getting around other people, and especially when you do have problems or just little quick issues, you can just bounce off each other because everyone has their own strengths that they bring to the table. Yep.
Cool, guys. Thank you guys for joining us. As usual, if you're watching, make sure to subscribe on our YouTube channel, like us, we'll do all the following on Twitters and stuff. Before we go, Roby, what's that company you created? Something grooming?
The WP Barber.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, guys.